is up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel and a look at the best horror movies of 2024 so far. It's me. And before I get into it, I just want to say that we're only 5 months into 2025, and I know that there are some people out there who have made a list of the top 10 best films of the year already. But come on, guys, let's be realistic. We haven't even got to the summer blockbusters yet. There are probably gonna be some massive horror releases in the coming months that are gonna overtake all these films. But as it stands right now, these are my top 5. So let's take a look. Starting off at number 5, we have M3GAN, which was one of the biggest releases of the year so far, coming in at just over $55 million worldwide against a budget of only $120 million. This was a solid hit for Blumhouse Productions, the masterminds behind the recent Halloween franchise reboot, the Purge series, and many other popular horror franchises. When you see how low their budgets are for these movies, it really shows that you don't need millions to make a great horror movie, because this film was awesome. Just goes to show that if you have a great concept and execute it well, then the box office will do its talking. The film was about a lifelike AI doll whose programming becomes corrupted when she begins to protect her new companion from harm. It's not a groundbreaking story or concept by any means, but it didn't need to be. It was just a fun ride start to finish, with plenty of jump scares and some sick kills. Plus, it was pretty funny too, and the action sequences were actually very well done. Megan herself felt like a real threat and definitely reminded me of another famous killer doll named Chucky. And if you ask me, I think Megan would definitely give Chucky a run for his money in a fight. Of course, I'd love to see these two go head to head in a sequel. That would be absolutely insane, not no. For as a film that has been getting a lot of attention lately, and it's actually getting a sequel, Evil Dead Rise. Now, I know that there are mixed opinions on this one, but hear me out. I think that this film was a great installment to the Evil Dead franchise. It brought something fresh to the table while paying homage to the original films. Instead of taking place in a cabin in the woods, the story takes place in an apartment building, which immediately makes this stand out from the others. But it does still have the same basic plot that we've seen in the other films. A group of people read from the Necronomicon and unleash hell itself upon them. And it's pretty gruesome, guys. This one gets real nasty. But I found myself getting sucked into the story and genuinely caring about the characters, even though they're pretty much doomed from the start. I thought that the practical effects used in this were excellent, and some of the imagery will stick with me for quite some time. But let me know what you think. Is this overrated, or is it a great addition to the franchise? Now we're getting into the top 3, and coming in no. 3, we have Knock at the Cabin. This was another film that had a big release this year and did pretty well at the box office. It took in over $148 million worldwide, which isn't bad for a film with a $20 million budget. And it stars 2 of my favorite actors, Dave Bautista and Jonathan Majors. The film is based on the novel The Ritual by Paul Tremblay, and I am happy to say that it does an excellent job of staying true to the source material. Like in the book, the story follows a family who is being held hostage in their vacation home by strangers who tell them that the only way to prevent the end of the world is for them to sacrifice one of their own. What follows is a tense thriller that will keep you guessing until the very end. Knock at the Cabin does a great job of building suspense, and there are some really intense scenes in this film. The acting is also superb. Dave Bautista gives arguably the best performance of his career, and Jonathan Majors is fantastic as the father who will stop at nothing to protect his family. Coming in at no. 2, we have Renfield, which was actually one of the first horror movies released this year, and it was easily one of the most entertaining films of the first quarter of 2024. This movie gave me everything I wanted and more. I love the dark comedy elements mixed in with the action. And I am sure that most people saw Nicolas Cage in the trailer and assumed that he was playing Dracula. But no, he's actually playing Renfield's boss, a mobster named Teddy Lobo. And honestly, this was one of Cage's better performances in a long time. He was absolutely committed, and I was glad to see him embracing the over-the-top villains again. In the film, we follow Robert Renfield, who is the classic sidekick of Dracula, but he's tired of bringing his boss food and doing all the little tasks that he asks. So he decides to seek help from a support group for people in toxic relationships in order to get some guidance. And while all that's going on, there's also a detective who's on the hunt for Teddy and his gang. Things get messy. You've got vampires, mobsters, werewolves, and lots of crazy action. It's just a super fun movie, and I can't wait to see what they do with the sequel. And finally, coming in at no. 1, we have M3GAN 2.0. Yes, I know that this isn't out yet, but I'm actually recording this before it releases, so I just had to put it at the top because I saw an advanced screening. Trust me, this one is insanely good. If you thought that the first film was awesome, then you're gonna flip out over this one because Megan is back and she is more brutal than ever. If you thought that the first film was scary, then you ain't seen nothing yet. This thing feels like a real-life AI. Gone rogue, and it's terrifying. The story picks up with Gemma trying to fix Megan's programming after the events of the last film. But something goes wrong, and Megan's rampage begins again. But this time it's on a much larger scale. Once again, there are some amazing kills in this film, and some cool action sequences as well. But what really stood out to me was the practical effects used. They were just incredible, and the way that Megan moves is just so realistic. It looks like they used motion capture technology to bring her to life, and I just can't wait to see how they top this one in the next sequel. I'm giving this film a 10 out of 10 and a trigger warning for extreme violence. So that's my list of the best horror movies of 2024 so far. But I want to know what you think. What are your favorite horror movies of the year so far? And do you agree with me that Megan 2.0 is the best? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to check out my other content. I cover all things horror, including news, reviews, and so much more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.